So, something I think is really important to do that I find I have to mostly do in private is to not care and to reject reality. And by that I mean, or I'm in response to the things we're told and quote unquote facts. And I'm taking it upon myself to just think that basically 99% of the world is none of my business. Because there's a lot of energy that's used in creating reality through our thoughts, through our minds, by keeping these rules in place, the things that we're taught, and even the idea that facts are necessary and that there is a truth. A lot of this reality eats up your imagination and makes it feel like you don't have a point to exist, but in order to learn and to be told how to exist and how to live. And I think it's important to rest and to let all that weight down because it is a lot of stress keeping or validating or caring about so many things that don't necessarily affect you, or you could just let people believe that you're stupid. Does it really matter? Like when we talk about the sun, what the sun is, how it keeps us alive, the distance, things like that, you could just reject that. And you don't have to care. And who would force you to care? We try to police each other, but can you really call the police on someone if they think the earth is flat? No. Their reputation is in danger, but you shouldn't be able to harm them. And I feel like it doesn't really matter. And for a long time, or especially now, there's such a push to explain reality to each other and to make sure everyone's following the rules and is in the correct reality. And I'm just tired of upholding what I've learned and what I know or think I know, vaguely believe, even things like the law of gravity. I just want to release it all and make up my own things because I can. I'm purposefully forgetting things now. I purposely don't want to know. I want to be ignorant because it's impossible to be the smartest person all the time. And I feel like those who can't lean into ignorance are constantly assuming or proclaiming that they're smart or wanting to show that they're the smartest person. And it just feels like hypocrisy at this point for me. Like, I'm not the smartest person, so why not just lean into being dumb? Or exit the duality and say I just don't care, which is why I've turned apolitical because I just feel like there's not a battle to win. At the end of the day, I just have to take care of myself. And how I take care of myself won't be a part of a movement. It's just the reactions of my life and the reactions of my parents' decisions and stuff like that. So it's too personal to want to tie to a bigger identity and then have to be responsible for that identity and be like a good liberal or a good leftist or a good right winger or all that. And I just don't care to know the terms. I don't want to know what a Marxist is. I don't want to know these things just to be in debates and just to be in arguments, which is what it's for. Usually, it's not really much of a commitment to a cause, but commitment to an argument. And I think this is what meditation secretly does. But since we're not allowed to be released and relieved of the responsibilities of having beliefs and identities. This isn't really mentioned. Like the quietness of meditation and the letting go of yourself, releasing all thoughts, that is the freedom I'm also talking about. And I think that's why people like meditating and crave it and find it important, and it heals because it's an exit from everything man-made and our minds that are fed these thoughts and facts and just fence us in these like invisible wires, this invisible grid. We live on a mental grid. It's not just the grid of landscaping and bureaucracy and being followed by like your social security number. It's the mentality grid that sticks with you and that you're told to obey and follow what's right and what's wrong. And this is even why I understand trolls now, and I understand people that say inappropriate things or what's perceived as inappropriate, or even say slurs, and this feeling that you keep getting trapped and being spoken down to and told to exist in such a finite existence. And to push back, you say the most offensive, cancelable, anti-woke stuff. It's like trying to feel real in a plastic world through other person's reaction and kind of showing them that they can't control you and that you're beyond the grid. So it's not, and some people are just very dramatic about it. Like, there's a lot of right wingers on Twitter that kind of play up the racism or are sincere, but I just find it very dramatic. So it's not even offensive. It's more like you really need this as your identity. And since I'm trying to be identityless, I just feel like my way right now of being identityless is better than being racist or not racist. So before I fall asleep or before I sleep, I really try to let go of everything and reframe reality how I want it to be and visualize and feel my successes instead of guilt or anxiety and thinking my story has to be a certain way because it began a certain way, or thinking there's a beginning at all. Just disrespecting everything I'm told to respect. Disrespecting reality, disrespecting time by saying it doesn't exist. Because it seems like this reality asks for so much respect and so much remembrance and honoring to keep everything in place all the time. And I'm kind of like, you want me to give you everything and you're not giving anything back. The reality doesn't reflect me as much as it reflects everything else. But at the same time, I know that our internalized worlds do reflect the external. But from my perception, it's like there's a million things, and obviously I'm just one thing, and then I have to know everything outside of me, which is like the million things. So I always feel like one thing against a million other individual things. So it feels like I have to know what a cup is, I have to know what a blanket is, I have to know these celebrity names, I have to know these people like around my house, I need to know all the vegetable names, all the fruit names. I need to keep track of the facts, I need to keep track of, the calories, the nutrition. What's the song? Who's it by? Who's it produced by? What year did it come out? Where does it play? What day is it? What time is it? What's the season? What's the temperature? What shape is that? What color is that? And I have to know all of this. And it never feels like reality has to know me. reality, I have no idea if reality does know me. I truly have no idea if reality does know me. The closest thing I could think of that would be validation is that I know other people do know me, but you can never be in another person to know that they are a real person. It's like solipsism, where, this could all be my mind, and I'm the only thing that's real. I have no proof. We just assume people are real. We just assume we are in the same reality. And that's another thing that's important to remember, is that some humans just aren't human. Especially at this point, there's people that are just AI. They have no thought process. They serve no soul, really. They are just personality, and I don't know what they're activated by, but the people that easily fall into trends. And I think this is one of the things I find people get stuck on social media, is trying to correct other people's decisions and not realizing or remembering that some people aren't human. Some people can't be corrected. It's not worth correcting them. You have to ask, is it worth correcting them? This attempt to save others by advice instead of just showing yourself as you, living as and by example. Some people can't change because they're not human, and we have no idea to really confirm or validate that they're not human. It's just, I think, if you sense it, you can sense it. So it's a lot of wasted time trying to be right, trying to correct people, trying to save people, and live within reality and attempt to be sane, or to be insane because you find that what is considered sane is insane. So insane is sane. And this is why I just like sitting in silence, because there's so many loops, and you can't control it, and I can't be responsible for it. I can't be responsible for other people's responses and other people's beliefs. I can't stop them from trying to save people that clearly don't want to be saved or can't be saved. Just literally can't be saved because they're not real, and they seem real, but they're like Agent Smiths or something that start arguments and live wrongly on purpose in order for you to react. It'll be a person that is like pro-abortion or eats wrong foods, and someone will be fighting with them, and this person will clearly be an adult and not understanding common sense. It's just, I don't know if it's the addictive quality of some sites, or there's like some sort of brain chemical, and there's something that happens when people argue that's very addictive. Or maybe it's just ego driven, I don't know, but you can just get sucked into wasting your time trying to correct people and thinking it matters, because they're not going to thank you. Most people don't say, like, oh, I never thought about it that way. I'm going to change my belief and thank you. And even if they do change their belief, it might be like a couple weeks later, it could be some years later, they're never going to come back to you or get back to you, or very rarely they will. I remember one time I got an anonymous message that was like, thank you for what you said that time. Like, I thought about it and I didn't realize it then, but you were right. And I have no idea what the conversation was about. I don't know how long ago it was. This was just like a stranger, and I didn't feel like congratulatory or good and think that I was smart. I think I And actually, for that thing, I think I changed my mind, and now I think that they were right. So did it matter? So I support people being delusional, but the thing is, you can only do this privately in your head. Because other people in the real world, and especially liberals, want you to care really bad and find it offensive if you don't care. So when people, like, if someone brings up the war and they're talking about Ukraine and Russia, like, I don't know anything about that. I'm not keeping track of that. I don't believe in it. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. What's it to do with me is how I see it. I don't want to care. I don't care. I can't pretend to care. The most people that want you to care are only pretending to care. They're not expertise. They're not experts. And they know as much as, like, the headlines show. They know as much as, like, NPR tells them. And it's kind of like when you might not care about something, and then other people will say, like, how can you not care this about politics? Because everything is about politics. The personal is political. And I just don't want to get into it, and I don't think it's their business. I don't think I have to defend myself and caring or not caring, because this is my life, and, like, this is my one life. And what, are you gonna beat me up? Are you gonna call the police on me for not respecting reality the way you want it to be respected? So it's easier to just be delusional in your head and to change, what you think in your story, and ignore all the reasons or excuses that other people would have. Like, you might have 100 reasons to be a victim and to cling on to victimhood, and everyone would support you, and everyone would also, like, recommend therapy, and they would give you the identities and say, oh, you have a mental illness, and also you're this race, and you're this gender, and you're this sexuality. So if we put this all together, it's no wonder that you're like this and you feel this way, and you can only do this much. Just reject it all. Make up your own reasons for your own self. Make up your own reasons for your own success. And that's part of manifestation, is just saying, why do I get to have this? Because I'm me. Why do I get to have this? Just because. Don't grovel and don't whine. Don't say, I deserve this because I'm a really good person, and I believe in charity and I would share, or please, like, I'm not doing good, God, and if I could just have a little bit more, and I promise I'll do better. Just claim what's yours with dignity. Just stand up and claim what's yours and be delusional. And rest your mind from the prison that this world insists you keep co-creating and will guilt you into co-creating.